All right.
Perfect.
Let me try to
Click
read there.
slideshow.
How about now?
There you go. You got it.
Yeah, I did hit slideshow, but it depends. I have two screens, so it depends on what happens there. Anyway, again, thank you, Teresa, for that. That was awesome and very humbling. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here with you guys. And Teresa, could you give me, I know we said 10 or 15 minutes. Could you give me like a 5-minute warning and then maybe a 2-minute warning if you don't mind?
Sure, I'll do that, Steve.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I have a lot of content. I don't know how much I'm going to get through here, but hopefully by the end of today, you guys will figure out if a guy like me could do this, anyone can do it. I hope that's my hope and prayer when I do something like that, when I get honored to speak in front of people. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of my story, my a little backdrop about me. Let me just make sure I'm doing this right. Okay. So there's that picture of my dad and my family and I back when we were growing up. My dad owned a liquor store, so entrepreneurship was in my blood. But he dissuaded me from going into that. So I wound up going into advertising marketing, went to high school and college for that, got out, couldn't get a job, started a company. Also was picked on, bullied, learning disabled, dyslexic. I had a really low self-esteem for years. And probably the last thing in the world I'd ever be thought of myself is the master connector. It's just crazy. But some small victories along the way, become a double black belt. That's me on the bottom left. I know Nico is a fellow martial artist on the screen. I know there's some other people I believe that have also trained, but yeah, my wife's a black belt as well. I hold 2 black belts, a black belt in karate and black belt in jiu-jitsu. So I had a karate studio for a while, which is a lot of fun. This is my wife and I. We love traveling, one of our passions. We love doing that. So today, business automation consultant, entrepreneur, inspirational speaker, host of a LinkedIn live show. I got to update that. It's actually 18,000 contacts on my phone and 18,000 LinkedIn connections. That's why it's a lot easier just to call me the Master Connector. If you have to go through all that, it's just too much. So just call me the Master Connector. But today I'm going to talk about what Teresa wanted me to speak about is the power of connection. And, in today's world, it's more important than ever before to really know how to connect with people. And you're going to see at the end how this is going to tie into how you can grow your business and hopefully grow your chapters and also put some money in your pocket as well from a standpoint of, your businesses as well as, what you do with Master Network. So, and you'll see that in a minute. But I've here, to really succeed in business and in life, you need to learn how to connect with people authentically. So a lot of what I'm talking about today is connecting authentically. And you'll kind of understand why as I go through this PowerPoint. One of the things to start, famous book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Back when I owned my advertising company, my partner says to me, "Hey, Steve, I got some good news. The company's going to send you to a course." And it was a Dale Carnegie course. And I guess basically we're saying was my people so sucked, and they really did. I basically would rather hit you than talk to you. My best friends growing up was Oscar Madison from The Odd Couple, Jackie Gleason, Ralph Crandon from The Honeymooners, and Captain Kirk from Star Trek. Because I didn't deal with anybody. The TV was my best friend. But anyway, I learned some people skills over the years. So today I want to talk to you about social media and how you can be authentic in social media. So number one, always be real, right? A lot of times there's a lot of pretenders out there, a lot of fake people out there trying to be these gurus, right? People that show they have, jet setter lifestyle. So just be real, be yourself, lead with your vulnerability. I've learned that in life. I'm actually putting together a talk that I'm going to call, the working title right now is How Your Weaknesses Can Become Your Biggest Powers. And I believe a lot of times we want to protect, ourselves from people seeing our vulnerabilities, our weaknesses. But honestly, I've learned that if you lead with it, it gives you tremendous strength, tremendous power. So just be yourself. So when you're posting, you could post some things that show you're human, right? I was in a very dark place for many years, right? And I love this post. So I put it out and I got a lot of good, comments and likes on it. So sometimes when you're in a dark place, you think you've been buried when you've actually been planted. And that really spoke to me. And I think it spoke to a lot of people. Out on social media, why not put out a video, right? And you don't have to make it anything fancy. You could open up your iPhone, or if you're Droid, you could do a Droid too and just start recording. Or you can open up a Zoom room. I don't know if you can do that, actually record. And that can be posted. You could just do a video of yourself. And I do a Fighter Friday video every Friday. And I just started doing that actually originally from my car, and it just just enjoyed it. And it's another way to get a message out and just talk and speak from the heart. Doesn't have to be anything special. There's somebody that I know that's in my network. Her name is Denise Panzer. She's actually part of Master Networks, I believe. And I remember seeing her doing these videos, and sometimes it was about business. Sometimes it was about her daughter, the car that she just bought a daughter. It just could be anything, right? Just speak from the heart. The next thing you want to do is, and I'm a big LinkedIn guy. I'm pretty much a one-trick pony as it relates to social media. It's just LinkedIn. So make sure you craft your about section on your profile and make it personal. Make it a story about you, right? Don't just make, well, I was this, I did this job and this job. It's not a resume. It's show people that you're human, right? So get that profile, work on that as well. And if you want some talk offline, we could talk more about that. So one of the things that I like to do with LinkedIn, with social media, is take it outside of the platform, right? And actually, if you're going to do that, craft a message with a WIFM. Anyone that's been in sales understands what the WIFM means, right? It's what's in it for me. And so you want to have something, right? So when I connect with somebody, I say something to the effect of, right? And a message goes out almost within the day of when they connect with me. Hey, Nicholas, it's good to be connected. I'm not just looking to grow my numbers of connections. Instead, I really prefer to connect. I know it may be old school, but let's schedule a call to learn more about each other. Perhaps after we do, we can find ways to add value, support each other. I also have a pretty large network, and I enjoy helping people make the right connection. So notice there's a WIFM in there, right? They're not, if you say, hey, let's get on a call, they're like, in their mind, they're like, why, right? So you got to make sure there's a WIFM. And they want also to be not sold. People do not like to be sold. So don't pitch. I'm telling you, as Tina Campbell says a lot, ditch the pitch. Okay. So once you've established that call, how do you make the call effective? And I know we do in Master Networks a lot of face-to-faces on Zoom, right? Sometimes nowadays we're doing some, in the real world in coffee shops, but I'm talking about on the call, on the video call, if you will. And here's some tips on how to really connect authentically with people through the call. Again, whether it's a phone call or Zoom, a lot of the emphasis here will be on Zooms, because I believe today more and more people are more acceptable to that than ever before. Number one, make sure you have a good background. It should be clean, perhaps a real background or a green screen, right? Anyone who's seen my picture behind me, it's actually like a flag, and it's got some pictures, right? That's actually from my house, but it's actually a shot that I used in my green screen. But it should be something that's clean, right? You can, and not distracting. Okay. Something, and what I like about when you're doing a one-on-one with somebody, if it's your house or something personal, not salesy, because this way, people, number one, don't want to feel like they're being sold. Number two, it gives them something to speak about. Oh, that's an interesting. Tell me about the flag. A lot of people say that to me all the time because it's a folded flag, burial flag. Tell me about the flag. Did you serve someone in your family serve? That kind of thing. Here's some do's and don'ts, right? There's that picture I was telling you about, right? There's the flag back there, some pictures. They asked me, tell me, oh, what's the story with the arrow, whatever. So that's a do on the right side. Obviously, what do I mean by that? For a large, when you're doing networking like this, I use my logoed background, but if you're going to be going with a one-on-one, I think it's better to go with much more personable. Okay. And then keep your cameras on. Just I mean, if you're driving, like A.B. Gabor says, right, and you need to be safe. But in general, and hopefully, my feeling is if you're going to do a call with somebody, make sure you're not driving, right? I mean, if you've scheduled a video call, make sure you're not driving. So anyway, invest in good lighting. There's some really inexpensive ring lights that you get on Amazon. Make sure, because lighting is important, right? You don't want to be in look like you're from the witness protection program, right? You see that dark shadow with the light behind you, and you want to make sure you've got, they could see your face, right? So make sure you've invested in some good lighting. It's not that expensive. Have a good camera. In fact, I'm actually about to invest in another camera because this camera is okay, but I'm feeling like it's not the best. Now, this camera was like $80. It's not expensive, right? And some cameras and sometimes in your laptop, they're decent cameras. So just use your judgment, but a good camera is important. Make eye contact. Now, here's what I'm doing. Right now, I'm looking at the camera and it looks like I'm looking right at you right at the eye, right? So make sure you give good eye contact. Try not to be distracted. You know, I know some people have multiple screens, and then maybe their screen is to the left where they're actually looking at you, but the camera is to the right. And now it looks like they're never looking at you. Try to make your setup so that you're looking straight ahead. Really important, because people want to feel like they're connected with, you know, if you're looking elsewhere, you're distracted, you're looking away a lot, they don't feel connected. Okay. All right. So more pointers to attract rather than repel. Smile with your eyes. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm doing it right now. It's just something you can train yourself to do. You know, sometimes you can't always smile, especially if you're talking. Can't be smiling while you're talking per se. I guess you could, but it's a lot more effective if you're smiling with your eyes. Probably the one that I think does it the best, in my opinion. And a lot of y'all do it really well, but A.B. Gabor, I believe, is one of the best I've ever seen in that, where he smiles with his eyes, for sure. Number 2, speak in third person instead of giving advice directly to people. Nobody wants to be told what to do. I did a post this morning, right? You know, it's just, you want to, you know, if you're going to say something like, so I'm doing it to you right now, so it's probably not a good thing. So what I've learned is I've told people, you should do this, you should do that. And all I do is alienate them. And then when I found the people that are in my life that have told me stories about how they've helped somebody else with the challenge I'm dealing with, it actually resonated with me better, and I received it better. So telling stories, going third person, not necessarily telling you should do this, you should do that, you should do this, right? So, you know, listen, it's interesting. I have a friend of mine, similar situation to you, and what was interesting, he was dealing with this challenge, and I told him that this might help him, right? I'm not saying you should do it. I'm telling this friend who had a similar challenge, right? Just a way to, and again, there's some people in this call that are really good about doing that. Number 3, compliment them. People love to be complimented, right? And I'll probably say this later, is, you know, the best topic of a person is themselves, right? So compliment them, makes them feel good. It should be genuine. It shouldn't be something that's BS, right? It should be something, find something, there's always gonna be something you can compliment them on, okay? And I remember,
Steve.
Okay, thank you. And then get them talking about themselves. All right, remember, for any scenario, it should never be about you. It should always be about them, okay? So again, I just mentioned it, right? People's favorite topics is themselves. Favorite word in the entire world is their name. Remember that. Make sure to close with, okay, now, this is interesting. And this is, Teresa asked me to kind of touch on this a little bit. So I think this is going to really help you guys tremendously. Grow the chapter and grow yourself, your business, right? When you're having a video call, make sure to close with some kind of next step or offer to add value. So at the end of almost every single one of my video calls, what do? I say, you know, this is great. I'm enjoying this conversation. I always like to add value at the end of the call. My brain is going into search mode. I want to see what I could do to help you. And I might say, hey, maybe there's somebody I can introduce you to, or maybe I'd say, hey, I've got the LinkedIn Live show or whatever. Maybe I got a book that I'm going to recommend to them. But almost inevitably, I'll ask them a couple of questions as such. What is your networking efforts these days? And I'll whatever they say. Usually they say, yeah, I probably need to do more. Second question, listen, I belong to a few networking groups. Would it be valuable if I was to invite you as a one-time visitor? Very important, not to join. Value if I invite you as a one-time visitor, okay? Number 3, I meet on, and you could fill in the blank here, on Tuesdays and Fridays. Would either or both of those be good for you? Okay, there's a typo there, but I'll fix that. All right. And I get a buy-in. Yes, and then Tuesday would be great, or Friday would be whatever, or both would be great. All right, you ready for the magic move? A.B. Gabor, appreciate this. The magic move. Ready? Which works better for you, this Tuesday or next Tuesday? Get a buy-in, get a specific. And then once you do get that specific, have your email. I have your email. I'll send you a calendar invite with the meeting link. Lock it in. Don't just say, well, don't tell them that, you can come any Friday. No, lock it in. And if they feel like they need to know why, then here's what you say. Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I'm not really authorized to be able just to have an open invitation. I'm allowed to invite you to one meeting, a specific date. So that's why I'm trying to figure out what the best date is for you. And lock it in. That'll increase. Now, is everyone going to show? No. AB knows this. I probably have 4 or 5 every week invited, maybe 2 or 3 show. All right. Sometimes 1, sometimes none, whatever. It's a numbers game, right? So that's it. Last thing I want to mention, and again, it's an honor to do this with you. But a great quote from Teddy Roosevelt, right? People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Make sure you lead with your heart. Make sure they understand that there's no agenda here, that you're not trying to pitch them. Make sure that it's about giving. Like Tisha said, it's about being a go-giver. It's about serving, and you will see how amazing your life will be. 2020 was amazing for me. Financially, 21 was even better. 22 is looking even better because I decided finally to take my eyes off myself and put them onto other people. So if you do the same, it'll be incredible for you as well. So that's it. I guess I don't know if there's time for Q&A, but I'll stop sharing and then turn it back to you, Teresa.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Steve. So we have plenty of time for Q&A. Just if you could raise your hand, if you have some questions for Steve.
I like that comment. I like that magic move. That's a good one.
Very cool. Well, hopefully you'll use it, Paulo.
I'm going to.
Awesome.
I think that's
A good mentor to me said, book a meeting from a meeting. AB probably knows that phrase. Book a meeting from a meeting. Always book the next thing.
That's why Team Muscle's got 50 people. So
I think I saw Zachary lifting his hand.
yes.
I did, but if I'm looking at my screen correct, I'm going to let Phil go first because he's the first one with the hand up, and then
Oh,
I'll
I
throw
see.
my 2
Okay,
cents in there.
I'll let somebody else orchestrate. You guys, whoever, Teresa, you want to orchestrate.
All right. So
I can do it.
we'll go Phil, Zach, and then Alan. Go ahead, Phil.
Hey, Steve, great job. I just wanted to find out, how did you start growing your LinkedIn connections? Did you do it automatically, or did you target industry or title? What was your magic pill there?
Magic pill for Magic Phil. Yeah, for sure. So I appreciate that. In the beginning, I first started targeting towards work stuff, right? So I was looking at C-suite in the New York tri-state area. I was growing my network that way. And you could go ahead and LinkedIn, and you can actually search by second connection. You can search by geographic, by titles. There's a lot of things you could do in the filters. So I was doing that initially. And then it kind of expanded a little bit. So I still do that to a degree. There's also, I also go in the you may know section, right? When you go into your LinkedIn, it shows mixed suggestions of people in the tri-state area or whatever. That's another thing I like to do. And then also people that viewed my profile, I go back regularly to look at that. And if it does look like somebody I'd like to connect with, they obviously showed interest, I might connect with them. I'm also, in the feed, and I'm looking at who's posting, and if there's somebody that looks interesting to me there. But literally, LinkedIn allows today roughly about 120 connect requests a week. To me, it's almost a waste if you don't max out, because it used to be unlimited, but they got like, I wouldn't say smart, but they didn't want these bots, so they started to regulate it a little bit. And so yeah, it's been a very on purpose event. If that's the question, it's not just random, Phil. It's very on purpose.
Awesome. Thanks. Zach, what's your question?
Awesome. So Steve, great job. Awesome presentation. And mine is not more of a question. It's more of a statement, because the way that you explained it is you've made it an interaction, not a transaction. But most importantly, the way I always tell my team is like the ABC, always be closing, where when it came down to, hey, does this Tuesday work for you, or next Tuesday? There's a lot of Tuesdays in the year, and you don't want to have them extend out further and further. So in this sense, we have to assume the sale, or in this regard, assume the appointment, and have them come to the meetings. And in digital marketing, it's all a numbers game, like you had mentioned as well. So we can invite 50 people. 50 people aren't going to come. I mean, if they do, fantastic. But I love the input that you gave, because it goes for every industry, no matter what you're working in. and it just obviously all coincides. So awesome job. That's all I was going to say.
Thank you, Zach.
Thanks,
I
Zach.
want to reflect off that a little bit, which is, if you notice the questions that precede, get the yeses going, right? And if you get a no in there, listen, nobody likes rejection, right? So no one likes to hear no. So if you ask, hey, what's your networking efforts? You know what? Honestly, networking, I don't like networking at all. Okay, that's the end of that. I'm not going down the questions. So I didn't get rejected with any kind of no, because they said that they don't have any kind of networking efforts. You follow me? So, but thank you for that, Zach. That's great input.
Sir, you're welcome.
Good, Alan.
Hey, Steve, great presentation as always. Your information is incredibly invaluable. I had this one thing to ask you in regards to what's in it for me. Do you have like a short list that you go to with people, because you're always talking and everybody has a different agenda and what's in it for them, but do you keep like a short list of, let's say, 5 of them that are generalized and kind of can build off that when you are talking to people?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, Alan. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, so what I was referring to on the WIFM, the what's in it for me, was on the initial messaging, right? And I'm thinking when I'm going out, and this could apply not just to networking, but could also apply to sales, could apply to anything, right? I'm thinking in my mind, okay, what is this person thinking about, right? Now, I know when AB back in the day, when he had his stores, he's probably the biggest thing that he had challenges with, I would venture to guess, is he had no time. So back then, and my guess is getting more time back would be something. So I'm thinking, okay, what would be interesting for AB, right? He probably was making a good living doing what he was doing, but he had no time. So if I went to AB and said, hey, I got a way that you can make more money, probably not valuable for him because he's making a lot of money and he's got no time. But if I said, hey, AB, if there was a way that I could help you buy some time back, would that be valuable for you? So I'm thinking, trying to think and it's often case by case, what might be interesting, what they're thinking about. So what's in it for them, right? So I wouldn't say there's a general list. I do know in general for me, what do I bring to the table? I have a large network. I have a very diverse background and large experience in different industries. I love the ability to connect the dots, and I can often use my network and potentially make some connections for people. So I'm thinking that could be valuable for the average person, because again, if I'm reaching out generically to people, I haven't really got to meet them yet, then or know of them that well yet. I got to keep it sort of general. So you got to come up with, Alan, with what would be your WIFMs for you, like what your the advantages you bring to the table. Maybe what you bring to the table is you've got some incredible relationships with business owners in the river towns, incredible relationships that you could leverage. Maybe that's your what you bring to the table, right? So does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was just, I wanted to know if you had a small like list that you use, a general thing, but you base it on the person you're talking to. So thank you. Appreciate that. Let Amy give us a question. We're running out of time.
So we're going to take these last 2 questions and then we're going to move on to something unique and special that we do here in Yorktown. Nico Rossi we do Tuesday tips in here, and Nico has a Tuesday tip, and then we'll get into testimonials at the end. So AB and then Lois.
Steve, amazing content as always. Loved it. One of the things that I've always done, and I'll ask you if you do it as well, is, like when you said you get to know someone, it's, Steve and I have just developed a great friendship through all of Master Networks, thankfully. And as a result, I get to learn. And when I find people like this that I learn from on a daily, whenever I speak to them, it always uplifts me. Those are the type of people that I want to be around all the time. Rick Gabrielli's the same way. I'm honored every Friday we do a virtual happy hour together. And it's you guys are my coaches in a way. So that's what I want to say. Or ask you if that's something you look at when you build these relationships with people as well.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, AB, you've been amazing, and there's a lot of people in this room that have been amazing. Rick Gabrielli, and I don't want to start naming names. Nico and I have created an incredible relationship lately too. So it's great. So I love building relationships here, and yeah, I mean, I think there's an amazing resources here that we could tap into, and hopefully you guys are doing a lot of one-on-ones and you're getting to know people, because you can't build a relationship right from just a screen. You have to get beyond just a big screen. You got to get to one-on-one relationships and meeting people and getting to the mixers and sitting off to the side, like AB and Liz and AB and my wife and I have done with them, and had some one-on-one conversations. Get outside of the big screen and build relationships, because you'll be amazed as to the incredible breadth of experience and wisdom that's in this room, and tap into it for sure. So yeah, AB's been amazing, and there's been a lot of people in this room that have been amazing for me.
Thanks, Steve. Lois, what's your question?
I love getting off the screen. I love also getting outside for networking. I totally agree with you. I call it net walking. Hi, Steve. Great tips. It was a really nice refresher. So I'm just curious what your business model is from the perspective of how you make money. Do you work typically as a consultant, or do you sell your programs? Just curious.
Yeah, so I have got 4 or 5. I'm like a cat with like 9 lives, right? So I've got multiple different things that I'm doing, right? That's why I lead with Master Connector. But in terms of consulting, yeah, I make money as I help companies streamline and automate how to communicate and connect with their clients. We have hardware and software tools that we help. So there's that part of it. But it's very regional based, very New York, Mid-Hudson Valley based. I'm also a speaker. So if somebody reaches out and wants me to speak, I'm going to get paid for that. I have a LinkedIn Live broadcast. So if I don't get paid for that, however, we do have sponsors that we're getting paid for the show. And then I have other entrepreneurial projects as well. So there's other ways that I've been able to monetize. So to me, Master Connector is a general brand that helps me figure out which direction I'm going to take the conversation, if any, right? Maybe it's just having the amazing person that I just met come to meet you all, you amazing people, right? So that's all. But yeah, there's multiple things going on. I know everyone likes to put people in a cute little box. I don't fit in that cute box, sorry, but that's why Master Connector.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Steve. I'm going to stop recording. We really just appreciate you being here.